well-balanced mind is about really understanding your mind. Understanding your emotions, understanding everything about human behavior and how it can help you create a healthier and happier lifestyle. Everything starts with the mind, and what the mind affects can be changed.
Hi, I'm Gladi.
And I'm Laura.
And you're watching Brand New Day on Be Well TV. Catch us here on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Laura, we have our own show. Can you believe it?
No, I can't believe it. And I mean, I guess a little bit of me can, a little bit, just because we're big dreamers. Yeah, we're definitely big dreamers, but I will 100% say that this is facing a big fear, but it's so exciting. And we are just thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
And welcome to technically our second show for Brand New Day. We decided today that we would not have any guests. Moving forward, you'll pretty much always have, you'll see us with the guests, but today we wanted to just really talk more about where we see this show going. And if you're just getting to know us, we wanted to share a little bit more about H&F Redefined, our story, our mission, and kind of what we do.
Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, you can catch our first episode where we talked a little bit more about H&F Redefined. Laura and I are the co-founders, co-creators of H&F Redefined, and basically what it is, it's a mission. We are on a mission to find people who've created brands or businesses recently that spun out of a furlough or a layoff. And we are inspired by these people that we meet because we share similar stories to them. Laura and I, we are career gals. We were furloughed from our careers last year in March 2020. And
wow, can you believe it's already been a year? I mean, really, this month, it's 365 days, essentially, you know, for me at least, and for so many, like 4 million other hospitality people out there that have been without a job.
Right.
It's so wild to think that we're at this point.
Right, but it's funny that you say 4 million, and we know that because we do a lot of research on what are furloughed people doing, and Laura and I are from the hospitality industry, but not just from our world, but from all different industries, anybody who was impacted by the pandemic. So we do research to find out what are these people doing who are furloughed, and this is kind of where how we got to where we are today, because we are researching and looking for those people. So we've decided to use this platform to now become a voice, you know,
and really share the stories of how they've redefined. And so I guess to kind of back it up just a little bit, we were, of course, we've mentioned hospitality professionals. We were both assistant directors at large resorts here in Orlando, Florida, and essentially, like so many others, were furloughed, and then I was eventually laid off a few months later. And we found ourselves really kind of becoming the cheerleaders of watching all of our friends or colleagues and, you know, people we were just meeting that were in the same position and had decided to redefine and dig deep and start a new business. And we just thought that was so inspiring.
Yeah. So anyone who's just tuning in who maybe they aren't in the hospitality industry, and maybe they have no idea what furlough is.
We didn't.
Yeah,
We didn't.
that's the truth. That's the truth.
I don't know. I mean, and I can't say, like, I have a feeling a lot of people didn't really know what furlough meant when that suggestion of it happening was even being thrown out there. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I remember when it was all starting to happen last March. And for those of you who don't know what furlough is, let's just put it out there, right? It's basically when your employer says, you're not going to be working, and we're not going to pay you, but your job is on hold. And we'll call you, we'll let you know when you can come back to work. And maybe you can have some benefits, health benefits, maybe you don't. We don't. Every company is different. But legally, you just you have your job. It's waiting in the wings for you, but you're not being paid. It's on hold essentially.
Correct.
Is that that fair?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So when I first heard of the word furlough, I was actually being told that we were going to be communicating that to other people, my managers
Right.
and our assistants and things like that. So my first question to my boss was, well, what's that?
Yeah.
No
yeah,
idea.
Exactly. Right, because we were both in leadership positions. And so now, and I can remember, I don't know if you can remember, I vividly remember that last week. I had just wrapped up a program, which I think about them often of, oh my God, that was, my last big program that was in-house. And I was running all week and kind of hearing the nuggets of information about this pandemic and groups are canceling and kind of running back and forth to the office to help do that damage control. And my boss at the time was out sick, and so I was kind of that one that was trying to keep that communication afloat to our events team, as well as keep a group in-house, and learning all these terms and understanding the magnitude of the pandemic and what furlough meant. And I can remember having to pull the team together and loosely, roughly try and explain, this is what's happening, this is what could happen.
Yeah.
We need to think worst case scenario. But even at that point, there was even mention of, okay, it might be May. It could be.
No one had any idea
Right.
how long this was going to last. And I think a lot of us in the initial phases of this thought, okay, maybe a month, maybe 2 months. And as the months started to roll by, one right after the other, I mean, there are people that are still furloughed and it's been a year.
Yes.
So again, going back to the mission, so what are all those people doing?
Right.
And that's kind of where we're at today is storytelling for all of those individuals who are finding new brands, new businesses, rolling out new products, and telling your story and being a voice for those millions of people who are still out of work.
Because we just found it really interesting, and we found ourselves at kind of that point of, all right, we had been going, pretty intense, a pretty intense pace for a long time, and we took advantage of a little bit of downtime there in the beginning. And if you go on our website, the first articles, blogs that we release is our tale, as we call it, the Tale of Two Furloughs. So Gladi's is part 1, and then mine is part 2. And we articulate a little bit further of kind of how we were feeling during that time, what we were going through, the emotions. And Gladi humorously outlines the 5 phases of furlough, which is like spring break, clean out your alcohol closet, and organize everything, and
vacation mode,
and all those cycles of emotions that you went through. And we had to adapt and let that process just happen.
Right.
And then we came out of the process and realized, now we're a little bored. Now what are we going to do? We're not used to just sitting around. We're tired of Netflix. We're tired of, there's nothing more to watch.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And so we really thought, okay, why don't we look at starting a company together? We had talked about it for years. We actually met one another in our intro to hospitality class at the Rosen College. And even as early as those days, we used to joke and kid about, let's start a business together. And
well, first it was a wedding planning company that we thought we would open. Then maybe like something of our own events, but we've always been in the event world since we met. Back at UCF, University of Central Florida.
Exactly. And back then, we were self-starters and gung-ho driven young women, but we didn't have any experience to actually open a business. So we're like, okay, well, let's wait. Then we had all the experience, but we never had any time. And we essentially found ourselves with both the experience and the time. So we thought, well, what can we do? Well, of course, at that point, the event climate was not exactly in a great position to start an event planning business. So we just really kind of, thought, what is it that we're going to do? And as we found ourselves rediscovering all of these innovators, we now call them our innovators, and just really latching on and grasping
Yeah.
onto their stories,
yeah.
we kind of just fell in love with that mentality.
Right.
And I guess like-minded people kind of,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
together.
right.
And so we thought, well, how fun would it be if we really shed some light and grew some awareness on this community of innovators that have hit that professional hardship, that have been, everything's been stripped away professionally, paycheck, have hit rock bottom.
Title, everything gone
And
overnight.
are literally climbing back and turning to side hustles or rediscovering they have, oh, I forgot that I had this skill, maybe I can do something with it. And that just really hit us hard,
Right.
because we're the same kind of people, and we just think it's really cool.
Yeah,
And nobody in the
absolutely.
news was talking about the innovators. We were hearing about unemployment, we were hearing about hospitality and
Right.
the hardship as a whole, but no one has really been talking about the furloughed and laid off professionals and what they're doing now. So that's where we decided
Right.
we'll turn to our passion,
Yeah.
that was writing, and create a website where we could write and share those stories.
Yep. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, hey, I know somebody that falls into that category, or maybe that's you and you're watching this and you want to partner with us, please head to our website, and I will give you the address now. It's hfredefined.com. That's where you can see a lot of our current innovator stories.
Yeah.
They all live there, and you can also see some other projects that we're working on and submit an innovator submission form if you're interested
Yep.
in partnering with us.
Yes.
But yeah, so Laura and I, we have our own kind of furlough story, as we were saying, but it's interesting that we've been friends for almost 2 decades, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
We've known each other, and to have the same job title at 2 different large hotels in Orlando, and then get furloughed within 2 weeks of each other,
Yeah.
not even. It's kind of a unique story in
Right.
its own, and we've kind of followed each other along the path of our careers with these weird little parallels
Yeah.
and anomalies.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point, we were the first hotel we ever worked at in Orlando, the good old downtown Orlando Marriott.
Yeah. Aw.
We worked our way up there, and I was Laura's assistant for a hot minute. She was there, and she was doing weddings, and she was doing a great job. And so do you ever think back to like the irony behind
Yeah.
where we are now and where we started back then?
Yeah, I think it's funny to think then, in those moments when we were going to be working so closely with one another, the jokes about, oh, we can't escape each other. Hindsight, we had no clue at that point that we would then go on to follow each other to another hotel and then live with each other for 4.5 years. And
Yeah.
then we just can't seem to get enough of one another. At one point, we had cubicles next to each other, and we got our wedding receptions were at the same location.
Same venue.
We were
Yep, same
bridesmaids
venue.
together, and I think the only
Yeah.
thing that we haven't done exactly the same is the childbirth aspect of things.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's probably
Yeah.
the only thing that's different.
Yeah.
Every other aspect of our lives,
Yeah.
that's the one thing that we can't relate to.
Right. Well, but life doesn't stop here. We are still making moves and doing different things. Now, I have found, and I've been blessed and grateful to found an opportunity. I am working now, and since last September, I've been working. I did
Yay.
find a director of event management role right here in Orlando, and that's been great. I've been
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
'cause-
oh, thank
and
you.
I'm so proud of you, because it's just such a success story out of all of this. And I want people to understand, how hard Gladi's really worked to get this director of events, big
Yeah.
deal job that she's worked so hard to achieve this milestone part of her career. And who would have thought that it would come in the middle of a pandemic? But such a
Yeah.
cool story of redefining at the property that you're at, and
Right.
it just kind of seemed like the stars aligned that you, as somebody who was in the middle of redefining, would align with a property that was rebranding, redefining itself, and
Right.
just everything kind of happened for a reason,
Right.
I think.
Yeah. No, it's been great. And, the one thing that I have told myself is, even though I'm working, the stories don't stop, right? The furloughs, the furlough stories of all of our innovators, maybe they do get recalled, or maybe they find a job somewhere
Right.
else. But I think what a lot of people can agree is they were given a gift of time that they would have never had to go on this journey to find out
Right.
what they want out of life, what are the things that are important to them, and really just try to find yourself, because we can get so caught up in what we do in the day-to-day, that even though I'm working now, I still want to remember what I found out about myself during my furlough period, and I had 8 months to think about this, right? That's, put everything you can into your job. If you love it, you're not working, but don't forget about your family. Don't forget about that work-life balance.
Yeah.
It's still there. You can still find a way to do that. And don't forget about yourself.
Yeah, and your faith. Because
Absolutely.
honestly, our faith has really, I think, gotten stronger individually. And I know it's been the same for so many people, is really taking that time to reconnect with their faith, whatever that may be. And, saying a few more prayers and just be more connected to whatever that higher power is that you believe in. Because I think that it can really center you, and I know it did for me, and I know it did for you too. And we've had so many of our innovators tell us the same thing. And that's just one example of the parallels that our innovators have taught us. And I say taught us because we learn so much from them every day.
Absolutely.
But of all of let's say we were just counting our innovators, we're
up there now.
We're at 31 published innovator stories. Coming off of International Women's Day, we just featured, so it's 25 different brands that are represented by women innovators, H&F innovators, but it makes up 31 women. So just within the past year, which, mind you, a lot of these folks did not even launch these brands until mostly fall of 2020. That's how many have already launched new businesses, and that's just the girls. Then we have another 5 guys that we've published.
Well, so it's interesting because all the girls were the ones that were coming out of the woodworks first, and so I don't know what this means, but all of our lady innovators were the ones that were actively doing new businesses and new brands, and actively seeking us out to work with us. And her dad, we joke all the time because her dad's like, "Where are all the men?" We're like,
Bob.
We know they're doing things.
Yeah, I know.
We know they're doing things, but so we have a new lineup.
Yep, in the pipeline.
Yep.
Bob, this is for you. We've got 5 more, 5 guy innovators that all it's like they all said, oh my gosh, look what the girls are doing. We've got to get our interview questions in. We've got to submit. But we have 5 male-owned brands coming up, and we're super excited because they're all totally different.
Now we have had some guys.
Yes, we have
innovators. It's just the majority. Keith with K-Stand.
Glenn Lansdale, who wrote his super cute children's book,
and our team at Orange and Field.
Orange and Field.
So
we have Orange and Field.
Yes, we have had some guys come through, which is great.
Yeah.
But we're looking forward to more. So we welcome everybody from every industry, any walk of life, whatever it is that you want to do. We want to hear your story. So, but anyway, so going back to our parallels, ironically enough, just in time for shooting this episode, we actually learned about a large, pretty big announcement, and we thought how amazing it would be to share on this show, because we've been telling everybody about how we've been kind of pacing with each other.
Pacing
and
is
in
exactly.
sync. And we never thought in 2020 that we would be ready or next in line for these directors role that we could be getting. But Laura, do you want to share your announcement with our viewers?
I would love to. So thanks for the great build-up.
Yay!
But yeah, as of just this morning, actually, I've officially accepted the position of Director of Events at the DoubleTree Orlando SeaWorld property.
Yay!
So we haven't told anybody yet.
Nope. So if you're watching this, you're the first ones to find out.
Yeah, so everything is signed on the dotted line as of this morning, and we're super excited to officially announce that. And I am an honor to now be kind of taking that next step up alongside my bestie.
Yeah, I've got 4 months of director experience behind me, so I can try to give you a few tips, but it's only 4 months worth.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so
Laura,
why don't you set me up for success? So first I want to hear about what it's been like, because I'm sure so many people want to hear this, what it's been like after 8 months of furlough to now go back to work.
Sure.
And number one, what's that been like for you?
Sure.
But how have you learned to blend back in with people that have maybe had never been on furlough?
Yeah.
How has that been for you?
Yeah, it has been very interesting. For me, I worked at the same property for almost 11 years. So it became kind of routine.
Right.
You knew what you were expecting when you walked into the door and the people that you were working with. So definitely a little bit different to go back to work after 8 months of not working and then be in a new environment. But I gotta say, I was very welcome and embraced by everybody who was working. So it's a really great new environment for me. But I have been consciously making an effort to find a balance, as I mentioned earlier, between work, because I love what I do. We love producing events and we love managing event teams. Right. But then there's that aspect of what am I going to do for me? And it's not like I play any instruments or I sew or anything like that. So this H&F Redefined for us has become a passion project or a community outreach project, and I really want to stick with that. So finding my balance, right?
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, you'll see too. It's going to be a little different for you, but you're going to find a rhythm. And what I've found is most successful for me is to write at night with a glass of wine and everybody's doing their own thing in the house. And for you, it's going to be when the little ones are probably asleep. And then find your...
Which never happens.
Right. And then find your inspiration and your time on the weekends to write and do what you want to do for you, because it's very easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind. And especially as you're as dedicated as we are to our jobs and as loyal as we can, you can still be that, but just find a balance. Because the one thing I don't want for you is to go back to working 100 hours a week like you used to, and then forget about everything else that's going on in your life.
Everything else that I've worked so hard to climb out of.
Right.
The healthy mindset that this whole year, myself and so many people have worked so hard to climb out of that. I do think that is kind of a little bit of that anxiety and that fear of when I do step back in, or whatever it was going to be,
right,
am I going to let old habits creep back up and let myself get sucked back in? And so now it's like putting those boundaries in place and
and just making a conscious effort. You know, it's very easy to be at work and let 12 hours roll by, especially in hospitality. But I've just found that making a conscious effort, being there when you need to be there, but also making making use of your valuable time at home and on the weekends. I do watch very little TV these days. You know, Bill and I, we love to watch movies, and we like to watch our little shows like Survivor and things like that. But I don't need to spend 4 hours in front of the TV anymore.
And it's just out.
Right. I had 8 months of that, and I don't need to go back there. So I think that you'll find your balance and. Again, congratulations. I can't wait for us later to celebrate.
I know. I'm really excited. And I think one of the best parts about kind of following one another's journeys and taking the same path is, I know for you, you've always been that one person that understands what I'm up against every day.
Sure.
in a professional setting where it's hard to, your husband might not necessarily understand that, your mom might not necessarily understand that, but it's been such a beautiful aspect of our friendship is that we can support one another, talk each other through certain scenarios, and I'm really excited to now be able to do that on a director level and know that, okay, she gets what I'm going through because she's there too.
Yeah,
so.
very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we also have some updates with H&F
Yes, we
Redefined,
do.
so we'll take a few minutes to talk about that.
Yeah.
We have our Seasonal Solutions Spring
Yes.
Edition that's launching next week.
Next week, so we have 8 amazing innovators that have submitted for our Spring Seasonal Solutions Edition. So if you're not familiar with what that is, we do this every quarter, and it's a separate page on our website where we allow all of our innovators to submit any type of promotion or seasonal package that they might have or collection that they might have that they would like some extra marketing attention
Inspired cocktail,
inspired cocktails,
recipe.
And so, mind you, our innovators are all over the country. We even have Angela Hayward from the UK. So we really present it in a way that it's not just local Central Florida folks that you have to physically drive to a shop or can only get it delivered.
Right.
It can be virtual experiences. It can be any product that can be shipped directly to you. It can be maybe one of them has an inspiring blog that we want you to pay closer attention to that season. So it's really, we kind of put the ownership on the innovator to submit to us. We prompt them and say, hey, this is the deadline, send it to us, and we're happy to help you promote what that is. So we have 8 innovators that have submitted. We're so excited about the variety of what they have. Really exciting stuff. A few new innovators that have not participated in seasonal solutions yet, so that's exciting. Then,
and if you haven't picked up on this already, we're basically this hype team that is promoting small business. I mean, when we get the submissions for seasonal solutions, whether it's a product or a recipe or whatever it is, we're super excited to put it out there and hype it up. We're
and
like
experience it ourselves, purchase it ourselves, whatever.
it's been fun.
As soon as they submit, you are in. You are part of the H&F community. You will always be in part of the community, which kind of perfectly segues into our latest development, other than this amazing show, which is our brand portfolio. And so our brand portfolio is in development as we speak. It's kind of your project.
Yep, it is my project. It is my project.
So we are hoping to have that launched by the end of the month, early April, but essentially it's going to be like a really cool directory by category. We're retooling our showcase page on our website, and it'll have all of our innovators by category, so we can promote that one directory, and consumers or whomever all over the world can just go to that one directory as a source to experience and support and shop from furloughed and laid off small business owners.
It's going to be a one-stop shop. That's one question that we get anytime that we post. Like we just posted for International Women's Day. We posted all the women that we've worked with, and the number one question that we got that day was, how do I find a list of all of these people? Because people are genuinely curious and they want to genuinely support small business, or that of furloughed people.
How can I shop? How can I, how can I get my hands on whatever it is? And
so that's coming soon, and don't worry, that'll be all over social media very soon.
Don't worry. And let's see, what else do we have? So seasonal solutions, brand portfolio, our show. So our next show, we're excited to have one of our light bulb moment innovators join us. So we won't tell you who it is yet, but catch up on all the light bulb moment articles on our website, and we'll surprise you with who it is. And we'll also be making a fun, cool announcement with that particular innovator on that show as well about some new product collaborations that we're starting.
Absolutely, yes.
So,
so
we don't stop, as you can tell. So we have jobs now. I'll be starting one soon, but H&F is just getting started. And I guess you could say it's a brand new day.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us.
And please visit our website, and we would love it if you subscribe to our blog. That way you always get alerts for every time we publish a new article, whether it's for an innovator, one of our lifestyle stories, or we often post industry insights with some professional guidance and insight, whether it's from us or contributors. And that's www.hfredefined.com.
Be well. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.